Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Hey? Hey? Yeah, this beard. Shall we get rid of the beard on stream? Nah. Nah. But we're gonna start now, and remember when we joked yesterday why the fish is... Oh yeah, fish. So this has been running since yesterday, so this is where we left off. Let's just put this here so I can look at it. So I wish I could look at it, but let's look at it. So this is what we did yesterday, rendering with textures, multi-materials, multiple shader effects, multiple shaders that are encapsulated in render effects. Uniforms are working well, partially. The texture lookup mode is still a bit broken, but all of this is working, so let's stop this. Let's get the ugly guy out of the way. And yes, I switched back to the old camera, and I'm talking too fast. So everything is clean, but remember that we made fun of about fish actually not having a fish? And then we joked, yeah, it is here, so it can't be in the game, right? And actually, funnily enough, that is exactly what happened. So so you see the fish is gone and it's using the default texture here. Funny story. So funny story. When I look into content in fish here, there should be the fish animation, right? And if I look at content, game asset config, it is trying to put the fish into the game atlas, right? So if I open data game atlas.png, the swimming fish is not there. It's the dying fish that's there, but the swimming fish is not there. And I think what I did, I accidentally remove. So I accidentally git reset hard dot git status. So now the fish animation is here again. And if I go here, and I forgot what the script was. So there was something packed with Rust. So basically, let's check the output. So basically this is the asset builder. And this is the asset packer. So let's just run pack with Rust. So it's reconverting all the assets and recreating the OMAR file. And if I open the atlas now, the fish is back. So actually when I dragged and dropped it, I moved it instead of copying it. So I moved it from here to here, which is kind of funny. But now they're back in the atlas. So if I do a rebuild now, I hope, alle Theorie ist grau. And the little fish is back here. So I actually moved the fish from here to here, which is kind of funny. So yesterday we got textures to work. There's still some the filtering mode is still undefined, and we need to work on that. And we had a plan for today, and I will go totally off script. So my plan was to start like 4 hours ago, but my neighbors started renovating, so ceiling falling down, lots of noise. So I went out and enjoyed the sunshine. And then I watched a bit of my good old friend's Togglebit stream, I think. Let me check. Togglebit is actually live right now, so let's see. And thought what he's doing. We can do that. So I'm gonna do something. Let me check if we have a clean repo. Yeah, we have a totally clean repo. let's actually do something. And this is going off topic a little bit, but it will help to ensure the rendering is much more flexible. So I like that idea. So let's say we have in Fiiish, and it probably shouldn't be in Fiiish, but I put it in Fiiish, something called Mixel. Don't ask why it's called Mixel, it's called Mixel now. And then obviously we go into Mixel, and I want to have the Fiiish app here on the side, because some of the initialization here. So we're gonna have a pub struct Mixel, and then we have an implementation for Mixel. And yes, that has the usual self dance. Why does my throat always clog up when I start to stream? Actually, I'm gonna go into D&D mode so work doesn't distract me. And then I have basically we need the system, right? We need this system, and then we have a pub fn setup, mutable self, system, which is a mute system. We're basically mimicking this, and we have a teardown, which probably we don't need, but let's have it for completion. Just does nothing. And we have an update, which gets a window update content. Yeah, that sounds about right. So this is also an example of how to build structure into the game, and then we have a render, which probably will need the renderer, right? So the render will need the renderer. The render will need the renderer, which is immutable, and obviously the setup will also need the renderer, because we will need to register stuff with the renderer. But basically that's the boilerplate, right? Obviously we need to, yeah, maybe we just do all of these. Probably color we don't need, renderer we need, effect we need, texture we need. Maybe we don't need effect, but let's keep that in. Well, let's do a quick cargo check if this even compiles. Oh, the window update context we forgot. Maybe it should not be the window update context, but named window update context, but that is the way it is currently named, so we just flow with that. We actually put that on the to-do backlog. Refactor window update context. So this works. So what we want to do now, the app wants to know about Mixel, right? So we have use Mixel. I hope that's enough. Nope. Super Mixel. Okay, fair enough. And then let's say we have a Mixel in the mix. So this is just Mixel new, right? And then when we're done with the setup, we basically say, oh, We have the renderer here, so let's do this here. Set up subcomponents, subsystems, parts. Oh yeah, I really would like some music now. So we say self.mixel.setup, and that will need a mute self.system, and it will need the mutable renderer, right? Renderer. So that's the setup. I'm 99% sure I just messed up the mutability again. Oh, Mixel doesn't have a... Yeah, fair enough. Okay, and then we need to hook it up, obviously, to the update. So let's just do this at the very end and say self.mixel.update. And the update gets the book. And then in the renderer, before the end frame, we say at the very end, we do say self.mixel.update and render, and this will get the renderer, right? So we hooked up the subsystem in the setup. Oh, we forgot the tear down. I mean, technically it's not doing anything. Let's say self.mixel.teardown, right? So we added it to the setup, we tear down in reverse order, we update it at the end, and we update it. We let it render before we end the frame. So what did this do? This did absolutely nothing. I guess it did nothing. Let's see. It did absolutely nothing. Everything is still working as before, right? But what it could do is it could render something, right? So I could just say, I could just do this in the render, right? I could just say, okay, render a texture in the middle of the screen, right? Just render it in the middle of the screen and make it pretty big, right? So just to show that this is actually hooked up. Oops. Oh, we didn't import vector. Yep. Mass. Why is this RS system comes after us? Almost. Effect ID. Where does effect ID come from? Oh, it comes from super. Do we want super here? Is super actually the correct place? The structure of the module still not a fan. So basically we have a big fat texture in the middle of the screen now, right? But that's not what we want. So let's look into the register texture here, right? So we could just create a new texture, and actually let's not do that. Let's not, but we could, right? So in the setup here, we could say, let's register a texture, let's say fish. Let's actually copy all the fish swims here, right? So copy ~data work omnimat fish content fish. Let's copy all the fish.png to fish data, right? And then we use the fish die here, just for testing. So we could just say, okay, we want to register the fish die, and then we use the fish die here, right? If I hit the correct button, if I manage to ever hit the correct button, so subcomponents can register additional, oh, it's not self system, obviously, it's this system here. So it's a system we get passed in, right? So we just pass through the system. So subcomponents can register stuff they need, and that might come in handy for deregistering if we switch between game modes. So we have the dying fish, as you can see by the eye here, right? So that's nice, but what if? So step one, we make this bloody thingamadoo full screen, right? Let's say full screen. Let's ignore aspect ratio for the moment. So this is full screen with a space around it. So that's good, but that's still not what I wanted to do. So what if we can create a texture? So what if you want to create a texture that is not based on a file, right? What if we just want to create a texture that's empty and we can draw into? Create, let's say we call that canvas, right? The signature is the same. It will have a name and it will have a size, right? And that's just, let's say this is U32 and this will return a self. So far so good. We create a texture and we create a T, return a T, and then we have to do something instead of the load, right? I have to do something instead of the load. So what we actually want to do is we want to create an empty texture. So basically all we want to do is actually OpenGl disable map. Can we disable map mapping? Oh yeah, we didn't change the min filter, and we wanted to do that. Okay, so this is actually a good case. So let's say we have a put it here. So we have a make canvas. Right, so need a mutable self, and that's basically everything. So up here we can say make canvas. So that still needs to bind the texture, right? We bind the texture, and the unsafe here. We want some kind of tech image 2D, and let's generate the mipmaps just for fun. We're probably gonna remove this in a second. But what we actually want is, and make canvas will probably need the size, right? So let's give it this size. And it's always square, so we just don't need width and height. So what if this created a square buffer for us? What if this created a square buffer? So instead of this here, we just used our buffer, right? So what we could say is, what about we have a canvas, and that is an option of, actually it's an option of WAG Q32, right? And then the default just says canvas is none. And then let's actually have a second one, and that is pop update canvas. Flush canvas, update from canvas, you name it. Actually, all this unsafe work is here, right? And the maps need to be gone. So what if make canvas at let's make this mutable. Mutable c equals vac new vac new with capacity, and that's basically size times size. It's square, right? And then we say c set length equals size times size. And then we say self.canvas equals sum c. Right? So we this just creates some space. And I actually want to do one more thing and say C0 is, let's make this red, right? So whatever the size is, we set one black, red pixel. So all we need to do now is, obviously we need to store the size, but we want to have the width U32 and height U32 anyway, right? We want that anyway. So when we create a new one, width is 0 and height is 0, and then when we load it from the texture, actually here we say self.width equals W and self.age equals, we just store it anyway, and when we make the canvas we actually do the same, right? So we say self.width is size and self.height is size, right? So this is just creating the data buffer, and then we do update canvas, and there's a reason why I split this. There's a reason why I do split this. Right, so... Oh, calm down, old man. This is not a race. Well, I have a 3.5 hour timer running, but... Tranquilo. So all the update needs to do is to say, if we have a canvas, and basically if let sum c equals self.canvas, right? Only if we have a canvas. Otherwise, we just say, I have no idea what you're trying to. So if we have a canvas, if we do have a canvas, probably we should clear this buffer. I'm not sure if this buffer is cleared, but let's assume so. If we have a canvas, we bind it, we give it map level 0, we say self.width and self dot height, the autocomplete there is, and here we say basically self dot, no, we say c into raw as pointer as const, right? So just use this. Obviously we need to create canvas somewhere, but that's where we use the dummy here, right? So instead of saying create texture, we say create canvas. And yeah, we could talk about the naming, and we say let's just call this canvas with a size of 16 pixels. Let's not make it too big. And then down here, instead of rendering our loaded texture, which we won't load anymore, we render the canvas, right? We could just do that. Okay, multiple things. So obviously this is with capacity and not new with capacity. And it's not into raw, it's as pointer. Right, so into raw, this needs to be, oh, we just do as pointer. Right? Just like we used with our dummy buffer. It was all there yesterday. Rinse and repeat. Really, as you size. Probably the other one. Yeah, I don't want to panic because I know it's gonna fit. Oh, now we have. Okay. Let buff size equal size times size as you size. Yes, you got me here. System being a bit overprotective here. Okay, right, we want to borrow this here, which is fair. And set length is actually unsafe. Okay, I mean, we know it is safe because basically we said this fits, right? So maybe there's a vec initialize with zeros. I don't care. So, ooh, this is our dummy texture. Probably there's just junk in there, and here's the red pixel. You see it in the upper left. Let's do the so in Fiiish. This is a port, remember, and don't print the source code. In texture GLOS, we have these two, right? So we disable the filtering basically. And this is what I want to do in general. So I'll just do it here when we create the texture. Obviously, it needs reformatting for Rust. So it's GL, let me move this. It's GL, this is GL. I just clipboard this. And we say, okay, for minification and maxification, we just do linear. You probably could get away with nearest. Maybe nearest would be better. Yeah, the binding generator is slightly imprecise. This would mean we don't need mipmaps anymore at all. So you see it's now, well, that's interesting. We could just say nearest, right? Nearest. Just don't do filtering. Why are we? Yeah, the GL tech parameter. Oh, there's an F and an I version, so texture, min filter, and max filter. Description, min filter, pixel. Nearest. I'm not sure we actually. Oh, because because we still use the bitmaps. So we need to set GL texture max level as well, right? So we just want to set this to 0, I guess. So don't use the bitmaps. It's been so long. I wrote some serious OpenGL. I mean, I prefer Metal so much. It's a much better tool chain. I mean, the thing is, what if we don't generate mipmaps? I mean, that was the problem we had, right? If we don't generate mipmaps, it will do the lookup in an empty mipmap level and result in no rendering. So that this is using the wrong mipmap level, right? But aren't we telling it, hey, don't use mipmap levels? What am I missing? So texture min filter is nearest. Mac filter is nearest. Min LOD. What's the difference between min LOD and max LOD? Texture base level is 0 and 0, so I haven't used this in years. So this is basically the same page we have, right? I always thought that's how you disable it. Maybe this is the same document. Max level, base level, max level, and min level. What if I set them all to 0? It's nice to have Intel code for this, which is just totally... So they set max level, base level, max filter, and min filter. Oh, well, the filters is okay, but they set max level, base level, right? Oh, you have to set both? Right, so we only set, we set the max level. So we set this, but lot buyers compare func. This is the wrong OpenGL version probably. The font is so bad on this page. Wait, what do they set? They set max level and base level, and we only set max level. So what does base level do? Initial value is 0. OpenGL disable texture map. I'm pretty sure I mean, this is just texture mapping. Disable. I actually don't want to relearn OpenGL. I just... If you are using mip mapping filter that has mipmap in its name, we don't, right? We don't. We don't use mip mapping. Oh, we are in linear mode? No, we're in nearest mode. So we never... Don't let me lie, did I cut and paste that? No, we never... Can you please just jump here, editor? So we never do anything mipmap, right? So why is it working for the fish? So this is clearly not mipmap now, right? You see the jaggies. But why is this black now? I mean, I can just generate the mipmap here, but this is pricey and we don't want it, right? Why is this using mipmapping? Because I set this without binding the texture, so everything I do for whatever texture was set before, right? This is just this. Basically, we created the texture, but we didn't say it was active, so these two were never used. OpenGl is a state machine. If you don't set the state, it doesn't know what to do. Right? And I have... So this is clearly pixels now, and you see our red pixel here in the upper left, and all the junk in the buffer. So Rust vec initialize with value. It could just iterate over the elements, but allocator drain. How can I allocate capacity clear, make drain, extend from raw, leak lang, reserve? Oh, just found ice cream leftovers in my beard. This thing has to go. Okay. So we can't? Fill with fill. Fill self with elements by cloning value. That sounds good. Fill. What's fill with? Oh, that's fill with this. So we could do so. We don't need the mipmap anymore. All mipmapping is gone now. Well, we don't need this anymore, right? Because we only use one mipmap level now. Sorry. Okay, so now we say when we make the canvas, we just say fill 0. Right, so we have an empty thingamaboo. Empty thingamaboo. Come on. Hello. So it's empty, right? And everything else still works. So that's nice. So what I want now is a set pixel on the texture, right? So what if we had a pop function set pixel, and that has actually, yes, let's use a vector2, right? So that has a vector2 reference and a color, which is a U32, right? And that says if we have a canvas, and only that, we say let p equals self.width times pos.y plus pos.x, and then we just say c/p equals color, right? So if I went here and said, for example, let mute canvas equals this here, we could say canvas set texel vector to new, let's say 1616, well, 1515, set 1515 to be, oh, let's set it to be blue, shall we? And then obviously after we set texels, we have to update the canvas. Right? This is technically the canvas texture, but let's see if this works. Oh, almost. Oh, almost not. So, had a semicolon here. Yep, sounds right. Vector 2 is not found in this scope, which is correct because the texture doesn't know that, but maybe it's time it does. Maybe it is time it does. What are you doing on your Tuesday afternoon? Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon? Obviously, the vector is actually... Maybe using vector here is not the smartest idea. But then... whatever is a smart idea. And then obviously we want... Oh, come on, you could have auto fixed that, right? Maybe we might make vector actually generic. Why can't I access the slice with a U32 if the U32 is smaller than... I don't know. So, some of these decisions in Rust, I like Rust, I love Rust, but some of the decisions are just, why do you make my life harder for no benefit whatsoever? Oops, so, fair enough. This needs to be mutable, right? I always forget where to put the keyword. I can't do that? No? So, where's my blue pixel? Where's my blue pixel? Let's set one at the very beginning to see if our mass is right. What? Oh. Could it be that we're mixing alpha with this, that we just set alpha to 0? Testing with white might be a better idea, or... So this is yellow now, so basically it's A, B, G. It's alpha, and then this is green, this is red, and this would be the blue. So for blue pixel, we would do this. So our set texel is working, but we set it... yeah, our vector library is work in progress, and actually it does nothing yet. And actually they are copy, so we're developing everything from the ground up, so this is intentional. So we have something where we can set a texel at runtime. So, I mean, obviously we're not gonna do it like this, so I'm gonna put this back here and just remove this. So we don't need this, and we probably don't need this, right? So we have a, congratulations, we created an empty texture that's rendering almost full screen. And I hear you asking, but dude, for what? And I tell you for what. So now it's getting interesting, because to get the texture, I would like to keep the texture. So wouldn't it be nice if you could keep a reference to the texture after, and then just hold onto it and use it till we don't need it anymore? I mean, we could just say, hey, render a find texture, and then we can just say if let some canvas equals find texture mutable canvas, and then we do something, right? So here we could say, just as an example, we could do this and actually do this. And that would mean we do it every frame, right? Obviously find texture mute is not implemented, but actually that's something we will need in the future anyway. And all these functions, we need some serious cleanup here. So pop function find texture mute name str, and find is always an option, so that is an option of a mutable texture reference, right? We could just say none here, and then at least it would compile and do nothing. Would it? Is it hot where you live too? It's so hot here. It is so hot here. So what did we do? Canvas? Canvas. Canvas. Nice one. So this should compile but do nothing, right? Basically, we should see nothing of this new texture. I'm not sure why the compiler is so... It's fine there. Yeah, it's just, I mean, I'm complaining, but it's like 20 degrees Celsius, so it's not insanely hot here. So it should be setting the yellow pixel, right? Or the blue pixel, but it's not doing that. So because it can't find the texture, but there's a texture actually in the manager. So the textures are actually in our manager. So our manager needs to have a find mute, right? And here's this thing. We need to put a closure in, right? We need a closure. This is a mutable self. I mean, we finds, we return a mute, so this returns an option of type mute t, and we have the strange formatting, and basically we have a where f function of t is a bool, right? So we say for m in self dot materials dot iter mute. Oh, if we find nothing, we return a none, and we say if f of m equals true, then we return some m, right? And actually find texture. Yeah, find texture, I'm happy with that. So where's our find texture? So what we can do now here is do self texture manager find mute. Actually, what did we use? It just needs the closure, right? So all it needs is t, a function, and basically this t is now, this t is texture. So if t, well, basically t dot name equals name, right? And we just return the value of this. So we use a closure that the manager doesn't need to know what the exact condition is, and it could be much more complex, right? Right? Oh, we have a blue pixel here, so this works, and we hit the right texture. So, hey, first shot first. And what we could do is color. How is color defined? How is, we have a color, right? Where is struct color? Oh. Can I just implement? Oh, I never knew. Implement from color for U32. Is it this way? I never can remember. Basically, I want something that gives me the RGBA. Cannot find color in this scope. What? Oh, the trait is from and not from. Okay. Okay, obviously we don't have an implement. Okay, two things. A, we want color in here, right? Let's get rid of the noise. And B, obviously, if we say we implement the from trait, maybe we should implement the from, right? Missing color, okay. So what if we say color is color from RGBA, and let's say the color is white, right? Let's say the color is always white, and here we actually say self.color.into. Strange autocompletion there. I mean, this will trigger the to-do, right? This should trigger the to-do. Not sure if it will. Wait. Cannot find type T because it's color, right? From color. I just want the to-do for now. Cannot move. Well, the set texel doesn't need a color, right? Why can't I just do SU32 here? That should trigger the to-do, right? I never got the from traits right. Rust from trait. I never get that right. From consumes the owned color? Ah. Really? So that's actually a good point, because this should be this, right? Okay. We could do U32 from, but then I could do what I always do, and it's not very idiomatic. So then, if I have to do it like this anyway, I could just add a getter and say as U32, right? And we get rid of all of this. And I'm just lazy and say pop function as U32 self. And let's just say U32 to do, right? Or let's just say 0 for now. Yeah, that's what I always end up doing. We seem to have some lag in the. I think it's like 2 minutes behind, but that's what I always end up doing, and then I say let a equals self dot a times 256 255 dot 0 as U32, and yes, I could use U8 here, but I'm gonna do RGB BGR. Actually, this is a better, because there might be order dependence and stuff, right? So we return basically R shifted by 24, or that with G shifted by 16, or that was B shifted by 8, and or in. And yes, I don't need to shift by 0, but if I have shift my. Right, so get it from the range of 0 to 1 to the range of 0 to FF, and then shift it into position. And I probably have just implemented the wrong version of it, because we just said it's a BGR, right? So with our white pixel, it will just work. With the white pixel, it will just work. Because it doesn't matter. Let's add a red pixel next. So this is our white pixel here, right? But as soon as I say actually, let's be even lazier. Pop function red, right? That's just a self. Red, let pop, and let's copy this 3 times. Red, green, blue, because we need them anyway, right? We could have like a from color name, but this is a temporary helper, right? So let's say we have a red here. Color red is actually a macro, a function that's not. 84! What the hell? And where's my rate notification gone? Fish rate. Yeah, actually, we're not doing any fish. No, we're abusing fish to put some pixels on screen. I have no idea where I got this idea from. So we have a red pixel now, and if we set this to blue, we have a blue pixel. Not sure why it's building so slow. I think something is wrong with my laptop still. Oh, that didn't work so well. So why is blue not working? Because if we use red and switch alpha and red accidentally, it's the same, but with blue, we switch red and alpha, and we have an alpha of 0. Same for green, so this is actually the wrong function, but we will need this in the future. So this is actually a BGR, right? And this is where this comes in handy. So, right, so we need the ABGR here and not the RGBA. Why? Thanks for the follow, Joyce. 73. Have fun, Toggle. So this is und guten Appetit. So this is blue now, and just for reference, let's give green a quick check to see if we messed that up. So this is green now, but what we could do is actually F42, yeah. F42. What we could do in update is say self dot time plus equals book, and in the window update context we have a time step. So what if we set plus time step and set self dot color dot, I don't know, R is time dot sinus, and then the usual divided by 2 plus 0.5, right? just had color open, but I can't forget. Oh, it's in renderer. And they are all publicly accessible. Because engineers like powers of 2. And 42, even if it's the answer to everything, is not a power of 2, right? No, 32 is, and the next one is 64. So 42 is not a power of 2, so it can't be the length of a float. Well, actually, there used to be 23-bit floats. Oh yeah, obviously I meant to use self.time. Actually, just for readability. Yes, our precision is too high, I get it. Well, you could open an RFC and say, hey, I need a F42. Look, the red value is bouncing here. Can you even see that? Maybe just let them all bounce. Having fun with random colors. Yeah, we are supposed to do the fish port to Rust this week, but Toggle kind of was fighting with Mixel, so I thought, so now it's blinking from white to black. So we can dynamically update a texture, which comes in super handy. And there's one more thing I want to do, because actually our canvas size is -1 to 1, so we need to make it full screen, we need 2. Well, we can vote bomb that RFC. Not that we would ever. Okay, that probably. So it's up here. Why is it not? Why is it not? Why is it not up here? Why is it not here in the corner? Why is it here? And oh, because we use 1 1 and not 0 0. Duh. Duh. Having far too much fun with this today. Okay, now we have a pixel in the corner, and what if? I'm just saying. What if we had a position that is a vector 2, and here we say let's start at 0, right? Let's start at 0 and instead use a self position here, right? Nothing changed. Nothing changed. Went back to the smaller field of view lens again because you saw too much junk, and especially in back cam mode, the missing green screen was annoying. So now we could just say, if self.time as u32% 5 every 5 seconds equals 0. Then we say self.pos.x plus equals 1.0. We say if self.pos.x is larger than 15, the texture size, then self.pos.x is 0 and self.pos.y plus 1 and we could just clamp it or mod it. I know. Let me say, oh, this almost looks nice. Almost. And then I go for a break while I let this run, right? Ah, yes, obviously this is a float and not an integer. Was it only 2? Yeah, it was only 2. It was only 2 of us. What did we do? What did we do? Oh, yeah. We replaced the wrong vector, right? So we want this to be this. We want it to be rendered in the middle of the screen, but we want to do this, right? Duh. Do. Da. Do da. This is almost what I expected. I'm not sure why the... Oh, so every 5 seconds, while it is a multiple of 5, it moves every frame. So we get this burst of movement every 5 seconds. So for every 5 seconds it moves. Every 4 seconds it moves them for 1 second. Yeah, so pixel editor done, right? This was just we shouldn't be doing this. But I do want to do this, so here's the thing, I don't want it to be, I don't want this, right? That's now not how pixel editor works. So what I want to do is in the window update context, how do we do this? Pop is key pressed. And then just use the ASCII character as an excuse me. Just do this. Oh, maybe the spot here was not ideal. Oh, maybe the spot wasn't so bad. Right. Send me a link to that RFC when it's done. Oh, and thank you for the follow Perkinye and Everex80. So that is good. So what if in the window we throw away a lot of keyboard presses, right? So where's the keyboard? So somewhere here basically we say print line keyboard input something, right? Let's call it K and just just use this here. So we do get a lot of keyboard input that we're currently throwing away, right? So what if we just map that to the ASCII state? Oh, nice going there. So we could just pass through the virtual code, but the virtual code is Windows system dependent, so I don't want to do that. So if I press W, I actually get the uppercase keys. So somewhere in gluten, because that's a gluten window, right? So crates, and yes, too many tabs. Gluting. I should create a library called gluting and then just have a readme that says, hey, stupid, it's gluten. And then that's in the virtual key code, right? So I think we just have a, how can we just have A to Z, right? So what if we had a virtual key code and a state here and say if vk is larger or equal than virtual key code A and vk is smaller or equal virtual key code Z, right? Keyboard input A to Z, right? And here we just use the vk. Let's call it virtual keyboard key code, because can we do that? Will that work? Will all the Rust lovers hate me now? They probably should. I am not a good Rust developer. I'm a graphics programmer, and yeah, thank you. We should at least do this, right? Okay. And then we just do ugly ASCII math. Really? So I get keyboard, and if I hit a non-number, non-A to Z, okay. So now we know. Now we know it's larger than A, right? So let's offset equals VKC as U8 minus the virtual key code A, right? I'm not sure that is a smart idea what I'm doing here. Don't do this at home. I just want to map the range of A to Z into a base range. Cannot subtract because can I subtract in an enum? I mean, virtual key code is an enum. Can I do subtraction on that? Yeah, I cannot. So what I can do is do SU8. I'll probably do a U16 because it might be bigger, and then do a SU8 at the end, right? Too many braces, I know, but in A to Z should always be smaller than 26, I hope. We should do more fish. So A is 0, B is 1, 2, 3, X, Y, Z is 25. So A is 0 and Z is 25, and everything in between is okay. So then I say let O equals plus equals, let's offset A, right, as U8. So this should give me the lowercase ASCII, right? Oh, can't do that. Can't reassign to an oh, I can do this, right? It's not uninitialized, it's just not mutable. Your error message was broken. So now A is 97, and if I go to, do I have ASCII table installed? Nope. So if I go to ASCII table.org, probably bad idea. Come. So if I look up the A, we just did get the 97. And we all know that 97 is a lowercase a, right? Oh, nice, this is an image, not... So that looks correct. And now we just can say, we don't do this, but we say window update context is key pressed, and use the ASCII code and say this is state equals element state pressed. Should we do this? Probably not. Probably not. That means right here we have the window update context, right? So we could say if book is key pressed, and then we just index by this. So if we press, let's do down first. Well, this is left, right? If we go left, then we say self.pos.x -1, right? And then we have else, and then we do the same. Keyboard just annoyed the hell out of me. So if we go right, and I just used standard, basically ASD for movement. I mean, every gamer knows this, right? Then if it's D, say plus, and then I copy this twice and do the same for Y and Y. So W is up, which is Y is, wait, that's a tongue breaker. W is up, which is Y, Y is negative, and S is down. And then we just say f.x equals self.x %. percent 16 and self.y equals self.y. We just wrap around basically, right? Can we do, I would prefer a clamp, to be honest. And this will probably be so fast. We need to debounce this. Yeah, maybe I should have used pause and pause. And maybe our vector needs a clamping and wrapping and saturation. Oh, now I'm breaking it. Okay. Okay, fair enough. So it's saying this needs to be a new size, which is fair enough. I don't like indices that use a type that's higher than what I could ever use, but no implementation for U8 plus U size. Yes, because I wanted actually this, right? Type mangling deluxe. And Rust doesn't have a mod operator. Rust doesn't have a mod? Do I have a mod? I mean, otherwise I just do the manual saturation, right? I just want the remainder, please. Okay. I'm gonna go into vector. And actually have a pop function mute cell. Oh, maybe I should give it a name, but basically it's clamp 01, right? And that is if self dot x is smaller than 0, then self dot x equals 0. And then I have 4. Oh, we don't want to clamp 01, right? We want to clamp min max. So min f32 max f32. We don't want to return the self. Might come in handy, but if it's smaller than min, it's min. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. So basically we do this here, right? If pos.x is smaller than 0, we do 0, else if self.pos.x is larger than 15, then self.pos.x is 15. So just clamp it at the borders, right? Don't bother wrapping. And we still need to debounce it anyway, so. And maybe hard coding the size in here is not the smartest thing I've done today. Yeah, floats don't have a remainder. And technically I don't need a float here. Else if. Yeah, I was considering making vector generic so I could use a U8 or whatever I want for it. I mean, this is a. So I can move up and down now and left and right. Obviously, it's much too fast. So we still need to debounce this. Ooh, fun. So 2.6. 2.6. We have a size here, right? And our texture is max this. So let's have a size of, let's make this a bit smaller and say size is 32, right? So wherever we use size, so this is self.size. And this is self.size as f32. Oh man. Mixing types in Rust is no fun. I mean, this could just be an autocast, right? And now you're telling me the comparison is binding stronger. So in theory, we should have a 32 by 32 texture now instead of 16 by 16. Yeah, we could use intos everywhere. What is the time? 5:30, so yeah, I'm still good. I need to take a 5-minute break in like half an hour. Oh, what did we do? A length is 1024, but where is that? In Mixel render. Wait, what? What did we just break? What did we break? Mmm, cold coffee. I need a better animation for Rust is compiling. What did we? Out of bounds and texture as lines. Did we hardcode the texture size somewhere? So width and height is size, right? Wait, 32 times 32 is 1024, right? So that's, but the index is 1056. Who is doing that? It's set textile, so it's Mixel line 84. That's using the position. Yes. The zero check stays the zero check, right? I need a break. So we forced it to be too big. I mean, we still need to check that the texture should probably say, don't do that. Nice try. And if it's larger than the size -1, right? Then it's the size -1. Force it in range, and not force it outside of the range always. This is better, and now I can. Ooh, ah, it's going one too far to the right. It's going one too far to the right. Oh, because I didn't do the -1 for the x, right? Yeah. I so want Rust to allow me to do braces here. That would increase readability visually so much, but I cannot do that. Can I? Rest says no. Oh, it does work, so yeah, now it's clamping correctly. Let's draw a frame. Obviously this is too fast, so we have to slow it down, but real quick. I'm gonna ignore all of the errors right now. So real quick, this should say, the set texel should say, where did it just crash? Set texel, if P is smaller than self.width times self.height. So if, well, if P is smaller than self canvas dot length, right? Then we set the texel, otherwise we just say, nope, you're stupid, I won't do it. Yeah, it's a warning, but I want to be warning free. So, and I, come on, what's easier to read? This line here or this line here? And there's no doubt that this line is far much easier to read, right? There's just no question, but this is not Rust, let's not do this. So some of the formatting is just shudders, hard to read. And hard to read code, obviously it's c.lang. Hard to read code is broken code. So unreadable code is broken code by default because you cannot prove that it's correct. Really? Yes, okay. That means we can get rid of this here, which is nice. Let's see if it's still working or we totally broke. Oh, I wanted to do the debouncing. Debouncing. So this works, and if I say, I don't know, canvas set texel vector 2 new 1000 1000, so far out of range, right? And just set a 0 there. Without this check, this will crash. Well, let's do it without this check. We want it to crash right now. This will crash. This should crash. We want it to crash. Crashity crash crash. Yep, it crashes, and if we enable our guard, in technically you could argue, oh, this is so deep in the rendering code, we don't want to verify data here. And maybe we make it if debug. So this is working. Okay, so we can get rid of this test case here, debouncing. So what if we had time since last key? Right, and we say time since last key is technically I want F6 F42. Can please someone do that RC so I can just, I don't know, off by 2 keys? Max, right? And then whenever we handle a key, we say self.time since last key equals 0. And we only do that if self.time since last key. Let's say once per second. Let's make it super slow, right? We make it super slow. Else, well, else we say self.time since last key plus equals book.timestamp. Maybe we shouldn't tick that and just say time of last key. It doesn't matter. Alright, so if the time since the last key is long enough, we could move the range check in here, but if the time is long enough, check if a key was pressed. If yes, reset the timer, otherwise just increase the timer. And 1 second is probably far too slow. Time since last key. What? No field, time since last key. Oh. I always do this. And we use the max here to ensure that in the beginning it always is okay, so it doesn't swallow the first key you press. So let's hold down, and this is too slow, isn't it? So what's a good speed? 10 pixels per second? This is basically reverse movement speed, right? To be tuned? Mouse wheel dependent? So here's one more thing. This is good for holding the key, right? But what if I let go of the key? Maybe I want to move faster by hammering the key. It's like keyboard repeat. We're doing far too much. We are doing far too much. This was supposed to test the rendering capabilities of the engine, and we have almost a full pixel editor in here. Oh, you say only set the pixel on space? Well, space is closing the app, so space might not be the best idea. No, we could just unhook the space from the app, right? Could just say, okay, space is okay, and then say if space pressed is space pressed. Set pixel bool, and this set pixel is false, and then we say whenever the time since last key is if voc if space is pressed. If space is pressed, we say self set pixel equals true, and self time since last equals 0.0. This needs abstraction. This is just tagging it in to show the capabilities of the renderer. And then we just say, if you have a canvas and self.set pixel, then we actually do set the pixel. And we say self.set pixel equals false, right? I mean, that means we cannot hold down space while moving. What did I do? I forgot the semicolon again. Do you want me to do the fish game today? So I can move now, and I can set a pixel, but I cannot move and... Maybe I don't want to debounce the spacebar, right? Maybe I just want to say self.set pixel equals wook is space pressed. Maybe that's the better way. So I can, yes, I will constantly reset the current pixel. So actually, in that case, I don't need the false down there, but I can just hold and if I let go, I move without drawing. You can still move. And I can hold it till I have the right color. I can also do diagonals now. Well, if I could. Wouldn't it be nice if I could see my cursor? Wouldn't it be nice if I could see my cursor? And wouldn't it be nice if I could clear this junk? So clear canvas rule. Yeah, that was a mental shortcut, right? Wouldn't it be nice if I could see my cursor? Oh, clear canvas. So self.clearCanvas equals book.is key pressed C for clear. Alright, and then down here we say if self.clearCanvas, let's just do one or the other. Then we say self.clearCanvas is false, and say canvas.clear, right? And canvas clear is not implemented in texture, but that's basically pop fn clear mute self. That is, if we have a canvas, then we say c.fill 0, right? And obviously this is a canvas. Canas update canvas. Canas. I think that's the fourth different way I spelled canvas today, so oopsie. I want to do some fish. I'm getting tired of this pixel editor, but so I can draw. Can draw nice stuff. I press C and it's cleared, and I can continue drawing, right? So I can boogie. Yay! I'm not an artist, if you can see that. Ah! I can't kill individual pixels, sorry. Well, you get what I wanted to do, right? Smiley face, so we can draw now, which we totally don't need for the game, but it helped to get some stuff for the texture out of the way. It helped with the keyboard stuff, so I did that, and it shows a bit. I mean, you want to write an app based on this rendering framework, right? So all you have to do is initialize your data, register your textures, and do a bit of keyboard logic. So this is a pixel drawing program in 113 lines with a lot of boilerplate here. So I would like to do the cursor thing. So what we could just do, and I'm not don't. But what we could just do, we create a second canvas, right? We create a second canvas and actually, oh, don't do this, right? So actually we can just, bad idea. So we create a second canvas, a second texture. Down here, we use that texture and draw it in the same way. It's the same size, so it will be in front or back. We haven't done layering yet. And here is the logic. What if we just say, we always do a clear. Right, and maybe not self color, maybe we do color red as something like that. Duck and cover, the world might explode. Smite thee? Why do you smite me? I haven't done anything wrong, so we have the cursor now. And we have drawing under the cursor, right? I think Togglebit would hate me now, because this was literally like 1.5 hours. Yeah, when I created my Justin TV, my Twitch account, I wanted to use Anti as I use always, and the name was used, so I had my little, goth face. So I'm a punk, but punk is dead, so I'll never mind. I just added some random numbers to the end of my name, and it stuck. So now we can draw with a cursor. And if I make this a bit bigger, the nice thing is, ignore the aspect ratio, we didn't fix that yet. This will always be pixel perfect, right? I mean, we could. I'm wondering, oh, are you ready for some fun? What if? Crosshair? Anyone? Crosshair? So what if for x in 0 to let w equal can self dot size as u16, right? So what if, let's do this in blue. What if we don't use self.pos, we use a vector to, can I get a vector to new please? And the x is actually x as f32 and the y is self.pos.y, right? So draw a line. What if we draw a line? World explodes. Expected 2 arguments. Oh, maybe I have to close this vector new here. I'm getting hungry. Are you hungry? Why do I have like 2 minutes of lag? So we have a line now. And we can still draw. That is nice, but what's even nicer is, let's say, let's see equal color blue. And let's see equal CS APGR8. I just want to do some color tricks later, so let's do this, and let's do the same for Y. So, well, the height is the width currently, but it's always nice to have clearer names. So this is Y as self.pos.x. So this should be the other one, and let's not draw the red one. This was an experiment. I'm going far too far with this experiment. Stop me! Stop me now! Just stop me. So this is nice. Obviously I cannot see what I draw now. So I want to say if y not equal self.pos.y as u16. Right? We skip the current y position. And then we say the same for the x, right? We skip the current x position, and this would be so much nicer without the explicit casts in the code. So let's skip the pixel I currently draw. Like a crosshair, right? And actually, I mean, nobody forces me. So what if I say from RGBA, I don't know, 50% red, 50% green, 80% blue, and 20% alpha? Just making this up probably looks horrible. Well, the alpha is a bit thin. I'm not sure if you can even see that on the screen, but what's with 60%? So here's one trick with colors. 80% is enough. So things will probably look a lot better if you try to keep the individual components under 80%. I mean, ideally, saturation under 80% would be enough, but we don't use HS hue saturation value colors, usually we use RGB, and stuff tends to look a lot nicer when you maybe even 80% is not enough. Oh, 60, maybe we go 90%. We just want to glimpse through that, right? Not even sure if our blend mode is set correctly. This is nice, right? Bzz, bzz. Oh, I wrecked it. Maybe we should be able to unset pixels too. And change the color, but did I mention that we're doing a fish game and not a pixel editor? And we can still draw stuff, right? You can still draw with the mouse, so why bother with pixels when you can draw with the mouse? But well worth it. It was some fun. Do you have that when you write code that you just write new functionality and then just play with it instead of keeping working? Yeah, I have that. I have that a lot. So just like this, I want to write a function to I want to set RGB now, so we could just use the RG and B codes for no. We could use Y, H, U, J, I, and K to set the color component. No. That's homework for you. I mean, what we could do, no. I mean, technically, this cursor thing here, right? It never changes. The texture, so instead of redrawing the texture every frame, we could just draw the texture once and then offset the texture to where we could just set the texture mode to wrapping and then just offset the texture coordinates by one texel to, or X texels to move it. And that would save the redraw, the refilling the clear and the fill and the copying of the texture. But I will not do this now, so yeah, add file system layer that allows fallbacks for loading. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. So add simple add pixel editor just because we can. Done. I mean, we also added add support for manipulating, well, for runtime modifiable textures. That's actually a good one. That's one. That's one we. So the texture work here I actually like, and we fixed the map issue. So this one was actually good. that will not go into the to do, that will go into the commit message. Yeah, so let's do a bit of housekeeping. So we updated the to do. We added Mixel, add Mixel, comma, a very basic pixel editor. And actually, funny thing is, after Bricks is done, which is a game after Fiiish, I always plan to do an iPad pixel editor that is like sump controlled and different story. But Bricks never got done because I rewrote Fiiish for Apple TV and Metal and all that stuff. See stream a year ago. And then now that Fiiish is done, I'm rewriting Fiiish in Rust. So Fiiish is my forever project. It's just my test bed for stuff, basically. So stage, Fiiish app, we hook up Mixel. And this is how you hook up new components, right? Just 5 lines of code, basically. The renderer, we added color support. So we don't need to mention that. That's too trivial. We added the canvas to the texture. Add canvas mode for texture. And probably we want more of that in the future, because, for example, you have a compute shader or a shader that renders let's say Fog of War. You have a discovery game where everything you haven't seen is black, so you could just draw black, fill a texture with black, and whenever the player goes somewhere, I set a texel that marks that area, and then the shader decides what to draw. So this will come in handy. So create canvas, and we fix texture filtering. Right, that is this fix we did. We have a clear, we have set texel, we allow updating, that's nice. We allow creating a canvas, that's all under canvas mode. We handle key pass-through keys from A to Z, which will come in handy in development. This is just the key stuff. This is all the fish textures. So, and actually our Mixel app, and this is basically the whole pixel editor. So add Mixel is there. Add more Fiiish textures for testing. So just one thing, all of this, too many tabs, I need to close them. All of this is on GitHub. All of this is as usual on GitHub, open source. Just one caveat, all the data in Fiiish, that is basically all the original Fiiish assets. As I worked with artists for the game, and I paid the artists, but I paid them to be allowed to use the assets myself, but I cannot give the assets away. So everything that's in the Fiiish data folder basically is look at it, play with it at home, but don't use it. So that part is not open source, and I cannot change that. So I cannot. Some of the artists I cannot reach anymore. Some of the artists flat out refused. One of the artists is my ex-girlfriend who went totally psycho, and I won't go anywhere near that, but I still will obey the law because she technically owns some of the assets. So yeah. But I will provide a dummy data folder, so which has basically all the assets that we use with the same names and probably just my quick scribble version of drawing it so you can see animations working. And you could play the full game with bad looking graphics, basically. So at least that's the plan. So I will need a moment. So I probably will do like 2 more hours in half an hour, but I don't want you hanging out on the taking a quick break screen. So shall we rate another? Yeah, let's do a rate. Can you do me a favor when we do the rate? The topic of the rate is fish, right? So I'll be back in half an hour. If you want to come back, just hit the follow. So we'll be doing this all week long. But we'll be rating Mr. Halsey now. If he was just online, right? I just checked. Did he just go offline in this second? No. So let's go there and ask for Fiiish. Let's go there. Fiiish, 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 and I'll do some more Fiiish later.